Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. I'm Mark Martin. President Trump says he wants all U.S. troops out of Afghanistan by 2020, and that's creating tension in the administration. Military officials believe some troops should remain in the country to fight terror groups like al-Qaeda and ISIS. The State Department says there should be a plan in place for withdrawing all troops. This as the Pentagon is preparing a plan to withdraw about 6,000 troops from Afghanistan as part of a peace deal with the Taliban. The agreement would require the Taliban to negotiate a peace deal directly with the Afghan government and to guarantee that the country will not be a launching pad for international terrorist activity. That deal is yet to be finalized. CBN's Heather Sells spoke with CBN News contributor Chuck Holton from Afghanistan to discuss what this means for our military and their efforts in the region.
What are you hearing from military leadership on the ground there about troops leaving?
Well, military leadership does not have an opinion on whether or not troops leave. They do what they're told. And when it comes to the politics, they really don't care about that. They're caring about taking care of their troops that are here on the ground and trying to accomplish the missions that they've been given here in Afghanistan for the time being.
You know, it's interesting because Afghanistan is not in the news much anymore. Do troops deployed there sense that? Do they feel it all forgotten by the American public?
Yeah, I think they have for a long time, to tell you the truth. I mean, I remember the last time I was here, which was 5 years ago, being at a base down in the southern part of Afghanistan and seeing a sign at a Marine forward operating base that said, America is not at war. The Marine Corps is at war. America is at the mall. Well, you know, the thing about that is that this unit that I'm embedded with, the 1st of the 501st Combat Aviation Brigade, is out of El Paso, Texas. And many of their family were at the mall when that shooter opened up. And so it's pretty ironic that here these guys are having to call home and check and make sure that their families are okay because they're in the firing line when, you know, really it should be the other way around.
Oh, that's a twist. Want to ask you, too, about U.S. troops are not engaged in direct combat in Afghanistan anymore. What is the mission there right now?
Well, in reality, the troops are engaged in direct combat. At least some of them are. The primary mission that the overall, there are actually two pillars, if you will. There's the NATO training or the NATO mission, which is the what they call advise and assist mission. And those guys are basically here to support the Afghan military and get the Afghan military self-sufficient so that we can leave and they can take over. That's been the mission for a long, long time. And it's a tall order because you've still got less than 40% of people in Afghanistan who are literate. They've made great strides at that. They've more than doubled the literacy rate already, but in reality, there's still a long way to go. They've had a real problem with what they call ghost soldiers. That is, generals that claim to have a lot more soldiers than they really do, so that they can collect all those paychecks and put that money in their pockets. And so they're having to do biometric testing on every soldier to make sure he actually exists. And when they did that recently, they were able to wipe 42,000 soldiers off the rolls here in Afghanistan. So they've got some big challenges with that advise and assist mission. But we also have a direct action mission, which is the U.S. Special Operations presence in this country. And although it's small, it's very effective, and they're really taking the fight to the enemy out there and doing a great job.
And just briefly, Chuck, you're embedded. What's the morale like among the troops that you've talked with?
You know, these guys are here for the man on their left and their man on their right, and these guys and girls, I should say. Now, they're the unit I'm with is a medevac unit. And so regardless of what the politics are of what's going on in Afghanistan, these guys are doing great things because they're saving lives every day. They're going out, they're putting their lives on the line. One of them happens to be my son, Mason, my oldest son. And it's a real privilege for me to get to come over here and visit him while he goes out as a crew chief on one of these medevac helicopters and is saving people's lives.
Oh, that gives an incredible insight. All right. Well, Chuck Holton in Afghanistan, thanks for your time.
America's military has been working to resolve conflict in the Middle East for centuries, and each and every service member has their own unique story behind their time in the desert. For one soldier, his ties to Afghanistan go way back. After escaping conflict in the country as a child, Private Atikala Asadi was called to serve to protect those around the world who can't protect themselves.
Should I start? Yeah. Oh, okay. My name is Atiq Al-Asadi, private from Detroit, Michigan.
Where are you originally from?
Originally from Afghanistan. Originally from Afghanistan. I would love to return. You know, it's beautiful there. It reminds me of Colorado and Washington. It's similar, you know, other than the parts where, unfortunately, where the extremism, you know, the terrorists took over and stuff. So people start getting scared and try to, you know, leave home. You know, I remember that very vividly. I remember waking up by, you know, masked men. They kidnapped my father and my brothers from on the way coming from the mosque. They had a truck outside the house. They were putting everything, I mean, every single thing as small as a needle, basically, you know, looting the whole house. They walked me and my brother a couple of streets down, and I saw my father, and I was crying. You know, I was young. I was crying, and I was, you know, I was telling them, please don't kill my father. Don't kill my father. And my father heard me. And my father had a smile on his face. You know, he said, don't cry, son. We're stronger. These days we'll leave. You know, these days will go away. Just have faith. I started realizing that, you know, the extremists and such as, you know, Taliban or ISIS or any of these people, they don't have a home on earth, you know, and they should not have a home on earth. I feel like I should, you know, I should be able to help out, do something, you know, to help out the people and trying to eliminate these people. So here I am, you know, here I am. My mom and my dad always said that we should always be thankful in this country because we have everything. You know, we have shopping centers. You know, we want something, we go right down the street. We'll go buy whatever we want. We have hospitals. We have everything. You know, a lot of people, you know, they don't have this, especially back home. We don't have this. You know, people living in the mountains, they have to travel days and days to get to just a clinic. I decided I want to serve, to go ahead and fight against extremism, you know, fight against extremism and, you know, and serve for the country.
And all over the country, troops are preparing for deployments in various regions. Reserve Marines and sailors in California describe what it is like training out in the field to prepare for combat scenarios.
Transitioning from everyday life being a reservist is definitely a little bit different because, you know, we get so used to seeing our families and all of a sudden we got blowing up right next to us. Field life is pretty much the ideal scenario for the best training you can get. It definitely makes days go by long. There's not a really good way to get all the rocks up from underneath you. They're kind of everywhere. You can't really avoid them. It cools down a little bit at night, but it's hot daily. It sucks about living out here in the field. The worst part is easily the heat. There's no way to escape it. It seems like everything you do kind of drags until you finally get to the end of the day and you get to sit down and everyone's kind of laughing about how much it sucks, but if you enjoy it, it's well worth it for it.
And they're like, can you give us some water?
The benefits of field life for the Marines is that when you put everybody in an austere environment, it forms bonds between the guys. And our unit cohesion depends on their brotherhood, their bond.
It's well worth it when you get back and finally sleep on a bed. It's something that no one else will understand unless you've been through it. Sleeping out in the field is, you know, as close as you can get as the best training to simulate what we're going to be going through. Worst part about it is probably the lack of being able to change your camis. Going back to the normal life it's a lot easier than transitioning into being in the field, but it definitely feels nice to get back into it. Our reserve unit's from Fort Devens, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston, so coming out here is a little bit of a shift. You know, we're not exactly used to 105-degree heat with the sun beating down on you every day, but it's nice to see that all the guys can get acclimated to it and get the job done out here.
After the break, one veteran's journey through Iraq and what he says changed his life.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com. Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs, from health to entertainment, you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place, from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Check your local listings or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel, now available at cbnradio.com.
Welcome back to On the Home Front. In this video series, Stories from War, veterans associated with the North Carolina National Guard share their life-changing journeys serving their country. This series includes stories from across the generations, including veterans from World War II, Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Veteran Stephen Hines was deployed to Iraq with the 1450th Transportation Company in 2004. He recently attended a 15-year reunion and shared how his time in the Middle East affected him.
If you had one thing you would want to tell people about your experience in Iraq, what would it be?
Life-changing. To be honest, Mary, I didn't come home the way I did before I left. So my name's Stephen Hines. Deployed with the 1450th Transportation Company in March of 2004. Went to Iraq. Spent almost 13 months over there. You know, you're kind of a sitting duck, I guess, so to speak. Every time we went out, you never knew what was going to happen. I mean, of course, you know, we got reports and knew if there were hostile things going on, but, you know, IEDs are unexpected, and you can't plan for those. You can plan for what happens after it goes off, but you can't plan for it happening. We were always amped up. I always knew once we got to ASR Sword that it was go time. The adrenaline started pumping, and you know, I knew that it was time to react. You know that there's a constant danger over there, but I was also over there with people that I loved and I cared about. You know, I tell people, you know, that my whole goal over there was to make sure that I took care of my buddy, that who we went over there with, we were going to come home with, and I would do whatever it took for us to come home. And I have those memories of combat, but I also have those memories of the closeness that I got with those guys. I have 4 friends that to this day I can call, and if I'm having a hard time or I'm struggling or you know, I just need somebody to talk to, I can call. They're probably 4 of the closest people that I know on this planet, and I love them and I care about them. And so if I'm ever struggling, I know I can reach out and call. One of my best friends to this day, who is here tonight, we drove to East Scandaria, and the first night we were there, we had some of our unit was parked, or some of our mission was parked along the where the power plant was, and then the other part was parked along the street line. And we had big, huge Jersey barriers. These were huge, big concrete Jersey barriers that they would use for, you know, for shelter in case of incoming mortars and rockets. And so we went and picked these things up in Kuwait, and we were taking them north. Well, that night we were all bunked in, and I decided I was going to put my cot inside one of the Jersey barriers. I said, you know, if they're going to bomb us, they're going to have to bomb through this Jersey barrier. And Gary Davis and David Brown were on the other side over by the power plant. And so when they lobbed these mortars in, there was probably about a volley of 10 mortars that came in. And whenever those mortars came in, all of a sudden I looked down the street, and here comes Gary and David with their cots and all their gear on their shoulders. And they were walking up and they were like, hey man, you got any room in those Jersey barriers, man? Said, we want to sleep in them Jersey barriers tonight. Combat changes you as a human being. You view the world a whole lot more differently now after you had these experiences that you did before. And you know, I wasn't a very nice person whenever I came home. A lot of people probably are not going to be able to relate to that because they know me. I came home with things inside, and an anger and a rage inside that I'd never had before I left. And I've had to ask for help with that. But as a human being, I'm changed. I'm not the same guy that I was before I went. Combat changes us as human beings. Those experiences change us. Some for the good, some for the bad. And we learn how to work through those things. The great part about it is I get to use those same experiences now to have an impact on a fellow veteran's life that is struggling, that doesn't know, that hadn't made their way back home yet. They're still in the desert. And hopefully I get to play a small part in letting them know that, hey, there's a way home.
Coming up, training never ends. What National Guard members in Wisconsin are preparing for.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Roman soldiers destroy the Second Temple of Jerusalem. Centuries of eyewitnesses say the temple treasures survived. But where are they?
They went from Jerusalem to Rome, Rome to Carthage, Carthage to Byzantium.
Historians are silent about what happened to it next.
CBN Documentaries presents the worldwide release of Treasures of the Second Temple.
So does it still exist today?
A story of mystery.
Where is it?
Calamity. Most of the victims were butchered. And destiny.
The possibility to dig is impossible.
Get your copy of Treasures of the Second Temple. Yours for a gift of any amount to CBN Documentaries.
Thanks for staying with On the Home Front. In a recent training exercise, National Guard members teamed up with civilians to prepare for any emergency incident. Patriot North 2019 inspires Guardsmen to step up and put their leadership skills to the test through a series of mock scenarios. Take a look.
So Patriot North is a domestic operations exercise. We host it here in Polkfield, Wisconsin. We train guardsmen, local civilian responders on how to integrate their plans. We take each element and break it out into emergency support functions. So we try to align military players with civilian players under a incident command construct. We do everything from the medical aspect to air operations to mass care, sheltering, to name a few. This is a leadership factory. We're training the future leaders and the current leaders on how to operate in a domestic operation. Value is a partnership. We try to provide the most realistic training and venues, so we'll make it as real as possible. So ultimately it's about leadership, training the folks under you, training all of us to operate, having a plan, and refining that plan as we go forward. If you can stress yourself here at this environment, then stress when the real environment happens won't be as bad.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after the break.
Prophecy thousands of years old,
We were called to be a light to the world.
being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
by sharing their knowledge
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
and their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Last year, the Defense Department launched a new initiative called This Is Your Military to highlight the work of service members. The initiative also has the goal of debunking myths about military service and increasing awareness among the American people. Using the hashtag #KnowYourMil, the DoD is sharing personal stories to inspire others. One airman became inspired to help others after seeing what the Air Force can do. Captain Alex Scheidel worked as a medical contractor in Afghanistan before realizing he could do so much more.
I'd always been interested in aviation, never really thought I had a place in it. But then I found the aviation logistics program and I had to do an internship in order to graduate. So I talked with my professors and they said, try to do something that'll set you apart. At the time I was working as a medic for this small company and I told them, hey, I need to do an internship. They said, well, would you like to do one with us? And I said, okay, well, what would it be? And they said, well, you'd go to Afghanistan and work for our company there. I said, sure, why not? I'd see C-130s, C-17s, big cargo aircraft going in and out, and I was like, that's just so cool, I want to do that. It was an incredible experience. I came home and I found myself missing it, honestly. So I graduated from college, and then afterwards I decided I wanted to go back. I had an experience, working in the medical field. We had lost somebody. There was a ramp ceremony, which is the first step in getting a fallen soldier home. And I was like, that's it, I want to do that. Whether it's taking aeromedical patients home or I'm taking doctors, nurses, medics into the field in order to help people, I said, I want to be a part of that. No greater mission, there's no greater way to spend your life than helping other people. This isn't it for me. This is incredible. I love doing this, but I have higher aspirations. I want to keep having fun, and I want to keep helping out, where I can. I want to keep helping people.
That's all for today, but you can find more of our exclusive news coverage at cbnnews.com. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.